Welcome to the second launch room sessions. I'm super proud to have you here because your profile was the one when I started. I'm only 3 weeks on this platform, and your profile was the first that I saw. I thought, wow, one day when I grow up, I'm gonna be like Claudia. And look at us, here we are. So please, I think you don't need any introduction, but please introduce yourself to everybody watching here. And
Yeah.
I want to know what your favorite drink is, by the way.
Oh, my favorite drink. Well, thanks for having me here. I start with the favorite drink. It changes all the time, but I'd say right now it's just a plain, like I'm drinking chamomile tea, so I'm sticking with. And actually, it would be better if it has ginger, like fresh ginger tea. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, and for those who don't know me, I am Nina Claudia. Claudia is my second name, but I run under Claudia Faith here on Substack. And I run Wonder Wealth. So I run two publications here. Wonder Wealth is more about, like how to get used to on Substack, how to start on Substack, how to earn money with your words, and like how to build a community and almost Substack related. And then I run a Level Up with AI, which is more basically how to create AI workshops for yourself, for businesses to be found, to automate your marketing, internal procedures, etc. And yeah, I started here around 2 years ago. I started from absolutely zero. I didn't have any email list. I didn't have any social media presence. So it's all organic Substack growth for me. And yeah, very happy to be here. Maybe you can tell me a bit about yourself because we haven't talked.
Well, no, we haven't talked. That's good. We jumped in cold into this call, no preparation whatsoever, and I think that is great from Substack, right? Things go fast. Well, I'm Virgil. I'm new to Substack, only 3 weeks and counting right now. And first of all, I love the platform. I work with coaches and creators, and I help them launch and scale their businesses and make their bank account sing. Well, I like singing bank accounts. So, but that's enough about me because first of all, I like to say hi to everybody who's tuning in to us. I'm going to mention some names. I see Marina, sustainability coach. Monica's here. Akil. Anthony, my friend, is there. Valerie, learn English. Marijke, Krista. Krista, fuck you, money. Also, we are two virgins here on the platform. It's really cool to see her here as well. So great. What I want to unpack with you today. First of all, this is like a coaching session for myself on how to grow Substack. One, and you all can tip in. And number two, I like to speak about the two different publications that you run, right? Because running one is really hard, but running two, I have my hands full with running one. So imagine two, I wouldn't know where to start. But anyway, let's dive in straight away with the first thing that I would love to know from you is that you started from zero. And everybody has his reason to come to Substack, right? And in my humble opinion, Substack is people talk about Substack businesses and earn money through paid tiers. For me personally, Substack is like a gateway where I place all my stuff and then go towards my other offers. But I want to talk about your perspective. How do you see Substack and the starting from zero, especially from all these people tuning in who's starting out?
Yeah, where to start? It's a big question. But so what would you like to precisely know from starting from zero? What's the question?
Well, so the thing starting from zero, what a lot of people struggle with, including myself, of course, is this big subscriber thing, right? Because in the end of the day, it's about getting subscribers in order to present your work and grow. So if you have 3 tips for people today starting out from zero to starting out to a substantial number, what would that be?
Yeah, I can tell you from my own experience. I started not really knowing exactly my place on Substack, right? I was writing about different topics. I didn't niche down. I was here and there and really just like testing the platform. And in the end, I'm kind of happy that I did that because it allowed me to understand the platform way more, like the interactions way more. And so I think for people starting out, if you don't know exactly yet what Substack is for you and what it means and what you have to write about, totally fine. Don't stress out about it. You're going to find it out. And then if you look a little bit on just like the data, in Substack now, it's crazy because it changes all the time. And now it gives you already so much more information than what it was like 2 years ago. So now you can really connect your publication with an MCP, so you can really tell your AI to get all the data that you want. You can just ask it a question and it basically tells you, and that's all new. So that's crazy. But I did it back then by just really hand and looked at, okay, what do people like on here? What do they not like? So first, I would say if you're starting out here and you don't know what to write about, totally fine. Just write what you feel like, see what your passion is, see that you don't burn out, because that's what happens a lot in the lonely first few months that Substack can be like. And just start there and then put it out there. Don't be shy, connect with people and see what sticks and not. I would say that's the first one. And the second one is really make use of the growth features that Substack has right now. I mean, you can love it or hate it, but it did turn a little bit away from only a newsletter email platform to a social media. I mean, you have now with notes, with recommendations, with lives, with podcasts. I mean, all those things, it really turned into this multimedia social network platform, right? And I know, especially the creators and writers here, some of them hate it, but it is what it is. And if you want to grow and actually turn this into a business where you can make money, then make use of those features. And especially in the beginning, I know people go to me and say like, hey, I write notes and it just doesn't work. Nobody interacts, but I promise you, it has a compounding effect. It will grow you sooner than later, but you just have to stick with it. And it took me, honestly, 3 months from showing up every day, writing notes, getting 0 interactions to then starting to see some effect happening, And I think this is like a critical window, those first 3 months, because people they try it for week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, they're like, what the hell is this? I'm writing with nobody. What am I doing? And you just have to stick with it and write it out. And then the third point is just really connect with other people. I think that's something that I totally underestimated because I was like, yeah, I'm just going to show up by myself and I'm just going to be there and do my own thing. But it's going to help you so much if you connect with your readers, but also with other writers. And I think that's just something that people tend to underestimate. Connect with people on here, do lives together like these. And just form those little collaborations or just really relations with other writers.
I love that. And while you were speaking, I was thinking about my first week. And I remember sitting here in my place, and I heard from Substack through a guy who wanted to sell me like ghostwriting services. A really funny story. I got a message one day and it said, hey, Virgil, do you want me to be your ghostwriter on Substack? I'm like, Substack? That's a newsletter thing, right? Are you crazy? And then I started checking this platform out, and I saw all my friends here that I find from all my other social media adventures blowing up literally out of nowhere. And the beautiful thing is that most of these people here are solopreneurs. Now, I'm not a big fan of the word solopreneur because in my opinion, every business needs some help, right? So doing everything yourself maybe is not the smartest thing what you can do, but you see a lot of small businesses, people with cool stuff and different ranges, different ideas. I met a guy the other day which I would normally in real life and in business life, I would never connect with. The guy is an Irish fisherman and he sings songs. I don't know if you know his platform, his profile, but it's amazing. It's like how passionate he is about going out fishing and singing, and he puts on his music. I would never connect with somebody like that. And I think that's the power of what Substack offers nowadays, is that you can connect with a lot of people at scale. And touching on your point of staying consistent, that's the hardest part. Especially when you're sitting there typing and nobody's responding, and then you type again and nobody's responding. And sometimes I get like, oh, what is happening? But this is what happened. This is what it is, right? But we move on to the next part, because the next part that I really find interesting from you is AI. Now, you mentioned it a little bit before. When you mentioned AI here on Substack, you have two camps. You have one who chase you out of the village with pitchforks, and you have the other who say, this is the amazing opportunity where you should be part of. Now, I have my opinion about it as well. And in my business, I use AI in certain parts. But I love to hear from your perspective what your experience is with AI specifically on Substack.
Yeah. I mean, I think Substack is in that regard still a very special place because you have so many creatives here. You know, you have the people who write books, who write poems, who do doodles, who do songs. You know, like there's so many really more creative people here that I think you can authentically like find on other platforms. And I think that's why people are a bit like, okay, this is a place more for, or like this little corner more for the creatives of this world. So why kind of destroying this with AI? I think this is where a lot of the backlash comes from there. But on the other hand, you have as many people now turning this more into a business. And I mean, if you look at the biggest accounts here, they write about politics. I mean, this started out also with the idea of the founders of this being like more of a, you know, like a new media without people, you know, like just being able to do their own newsletter and their own informations and putting those out there. And you have the technology people, business people. So AI has a place here, and I think you know, you can't prevent it because it's here to stay, and it's just a way of how you want to work with it. And you know, I think Substack is trying to do the right moves. Like they just launched this AI scanner basically, because I think what they're scared of is that it turns into another, almost like LinkedIn right now, right? Where people like, where it's like one bot talking to the other and nobody gets the sense of it anymore. And I think that's the danger, that you don't want to fall into that category. But at the same time, for all of us being here, showing up as humans, it's like your biggest advantage that you can use right now, right? Show people that you're real.
That's a good thing, because I was speaking also to a lot of creators here on Substack the last few weeks that I'm operating here, and what you hear is that some people are really afraid to say, yeah, I used AI for my article. Now, don't get me wrong, I truly believe that writing is an art form and that your writing needs to come from you. But I also believe that AI organizes for me my thoughts, because the funny thing is I wrote an article and it's coming out in 5 minutes. I believe it goes out about my Substack growth. And I wrote it, right? And in my way, and I'm Dutch, right? So I'm not my first language. You're German. So it's not, English is not our first language. So our ideas and how we present it may come across weird. So I wrote this whole article and I read it and I finished it, and I sent always a draft to one of my buddies and say, hey, read this thing. And he's English speaking. He's Oxford English, like proper English. And then he goes to it and says, Virgil, this makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So what I did, I took my ideas, what I think, I put that in the robot, and it structures it for me. I don't ask, hey, can you write to me this article? That would be unethical in my world. But to organize your thoughts, or to organize your notes, or even to schedule your notes, I believe you have built an amazing tool where you could schedule notes and things like that. I want to hear all about it. But yeah, so that's a funny part of AI. I think this discussion will never die. But now for you, the juggling between the two publications, because it's funny that I see a lot of great creators, big creators who are successfully, they have multiple publications. First of all, why do you choose, and how do you do it?
Yeah, honestly, I think like that's always like a topic I'm very controversial about, because I think two publications just give you more headache than one. And I'm constantly thinking, should I retire one of them or not? Because the audience overlap, and that's the thing. I mean, on Substack, people come oftentimes for you and your personality and you as a person, rather for, you know, your information, especially in the age of AI. So I think, people sign up to you, and then there will be a significant overlap between your first and your second publication of just people who want to follow you. And Substack doesn't make it easy to grow a second publication, because when you show up in a notes feed, they always just see the publication that you put first. And Yeah. So in the end, for people who are starting out, I actually wouldn't recommend it. For people who want to grow, I also probably wouldn't recommend it. So I'm very, yeah, I think it's not a great idea. It just will give you a lot of headache without much benefit in return.
No, it makes a lot of sense. That reminds me of one of my mentors used to say, because I was a guy who wanted to do 20 things because I believed I could beat a woman's brain with multitasking, which I couldn't, obviously. And he always said, Virgil, the one who chases two rabbits catches none. And
Yeah.
for years, I was like, yeah, right, I can do it. But no, you cannot. And it's a good advice, because I think for us newbies on Substack who will see other platforms who think, oh, we need to start two publications to grow, we fall in this death trap of completely going into this spiral of negativity, and then it ends.
Yeah. Yeah. The only time I would say it does make sense to really consider it right now would be if you write a publication in two different languages. I think there it could make some sense, but it's still there. Then people just get confused which one to sign up for, because they, your notes are not stuck to a publication, but the notes go to your person, right? Like your personal profile. And so again, most people will sign up to your first publication, and then they don't even know that you have maybe a second one in their original language. So it's all messy, and I would just recommend everybody to stick with one publication.
So that brings me to ask you like this bold question. If you have to let one go, because I believe both of your publications are amazing. For starters, the Wonder World is amazing, and Level Up AI. I'm interested in AI, right? So I love them both. But if you would let one go, which one would it be and why?
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question for me, because I don't know. I think logically I would rather let Level Up with AI go, because I have built my brand around Wonderwealth. But at the same time, I did get tired of writing about how to make it on Substack. That was my main reason to start a new publication. I have a background in AI. I have a background in economics and digital health, and so I kind of wanted to bring my expertise really more into that Level Up with AI publication, which I did. So I think for me, passion wise, like that's more of my focus right now. It also fits with the current hype of AI and trend of AI. But my brand and my initial starting point here is Wonderwealth. So at this point, I'm not letting go of either, but it's constantly on my mind for sure.
My mind is always moving when I hear people speak about their business, right? And the first thing, and maybe you did, I would say this to you off camera as well, but now we're here, I would say what I would do, right? What
Yeah.
I would do in your position, and sometimes it helps to get a word perspective from a stranger you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And do with it what you want. So this is what I think would work for you. Is Wonder Wealth is your passion project, right? And in my years in marketing, I've learned that people always grow and your audience grows with you. So your audience might come in for Substack growth, but once they are into Substack growth, they move with you. So because AI is so powerful, I would fuse Level Up with AI inside Wonderwell and bring them together with the best of both worlds. Why? Because all those people would, including me, myself, I would appreciate it because I get to learn about the Substack thing while I grow in my coming 12 to 18 months. But at the same time, I also get the education about what is so important, and it's about automating your business. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do. That's my 2 cents. But
yeah, no, I mean that has been on my mind, but then I think, yeah, it's something so I'm still like thinking about it if that's a good move or not, but for now I have to.
No, for now you have two, and that is great. And then we move on, and I see that there people are here really really jumping in. We have 22 people on a new link that is totally unknown because Substack sort of played tricks on us. So for that, I am super proud. So what I would like to ask you next is this: is a lot of people, like I mentioned in the beginning, use Substack as their main income, and people like to do that. In my opinion, I think you would struggle because it's very difficult to make a living out of an $80 a year thing. So you need something else, right? So if you break down your ideas and your approach to that, how do you use Substack as the gateway to, let's say, your AI business or service?
Yeah. I mean, in the end, all you do on Substack is build credibility, you build your audience, right? People get to know you. And then once you have that audience, you can, like the paid tier is something that, in my mind, it gives you a first entry level to people just saying like, okay, I'm going to do like a low hanging fruit. I'm going to pay $20 a month and maybe cancel, maybe not. But it's like this intro for people to getting to know you and your products. And then you can obviously upsell them, and I think that's how most people actually make money here on Substack. One thing I do want to say is like what helps for sure is to at least break the point of having at least 100 paid subscribers, because then you get this little check mark, right? And I think that's the best you can do for your growth. So I think if you want to make real money on Substack, focusing on the paid tier only doesn't make it very lucrative, and it's not a very great model. But again, I think it's a great first step for those two reasons. It gives you like an entry to people. They can have like an easy yes to wanting to pay you. And then the second one, it just gives you credibility on the platform itself. And then you can move onto whatever other products or services you offer. And I think that's really the norm from everybody who's making decent money on Substack.
You know what I like about your approach is that you break it down in achievable goals, right? Because there's so many. I came across so many Substack gurus in 3 weeks. That's amazing. Obviously, that's completely normal because if you go on LinkedIn, you're gonna find like 100 LinkedIn gurus, and on Instagram the same. So that's completely normal. But it looks like everybody is talking about all the numbers and changing the vanity metrics of getting to 100 subs and doing this or reaching that. The thing that I like about your approach is to reach that milestone of that bestseller status, because that's what we're talking about. That's also in my mind, because you see, for some reason, I'm this nerd, right? And I use AI to analyze big account growth and look at their graphs and see where did they take off. And if you look carefully, you see all of them sort of say that they took off the moment they got the bestseller badge. So something is happening there. Maybe in the algorithm, maybe people start to see what something cool. I don't know what it is, but it is the truth. So yes, if you would give one big tip for Virgil and all the viewers who are not bestsellers to reach that, what would that be?
I mean, it's really a boring one, but it's just really about being consistent. I mean, you can't get there if you don't show up, and you have to show up personally. I think that's the thing. Like, there are so many AI content overcrowded, content out there now, and I have some people in my audience who just automate everything, and they write, I don't know, 50 AI written notes a day. They write every day 3 posts. But the thing is, like, people don't want that, right? Nobody's interested in your AI content that you can pull out like everybody else can. People are interested in your own experience and your personal story and you showing up. And I think that's really the thing that is the most scary, because like most people actually on Substack are introverts, and they don't like being on camera. Neither do I. But that's what you got to do if you want to make it here, and like just spitting out AI content without any personality attached to it just won't make it. And so be consistent and be yourself. I know it's boring, but that's what it is.
No, but I like that you say that. If I look at myself, I came here 3 weeks ago, and basically in copywriting and in marketing, we say, or I say, you need to write like you're on an Ibiza beach party during sunset, drinking 3 tequilas, and you speak to your friend. How would
Yeah.
you speak? And normally that will always reflect your personality. And that
Mm.
is something I always did and also do at the moment on Substack. So if you believe that you really need to be this big writer, or you need to be very serious or specific or a deep thinker, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not that person, you'll still be able to grow just to be yourself. And that's what I love about this platform, because it rewards people who are themselves, and it
Yeah.
punishes people who are using AI to get ahead. And
Yeah.
that is what it is. And that's what I like.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, well said. I think you're doing it great, because it's exactly, you've been here 3 weeks, you reach out, like we've never met or talked, or on any other platform, we've never, heard of each other, but you just reach out, you say, hey, should we do a live? You did a great pitch to convince me, and then I was like, oh, cool, let's do it, and then it's just chatting, and yeah, so I think you're doing fantastic.
so thank you so much, and I will share how I convinced Claudia to join me, and I share how I did that. Super simple, but I have one question here for you from Brian, my buddy Brian Cleveland. I love his name, by the way, Brian Cleveland. He could be an artist. But anyway, he says, what's a tipping point that you think leads to someone switching from free to a paid subscriber? Good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I think that's also so. Yeah, the tipping point is probably that you show them enough what your publication can transform them into. You just have to be very clear of like, hey, this is your status quo right now. You're going to sign up for my paid tier, and at the end of that, if it's monthly or yearly, you will have different benefit features, but at the end of this, you're going to be here. And I think you just have to be so clear in this transformation that you want people to go through and to achieve. I don't know, it depends what you write about. It's easier if it's informational content, educational content, because then it's really clear of like, hey, this is here, then you're there. If you're writing more about like creative parts, or like just for entertainment, it's a little bit different. But again, then, if you're writing a book, like then let people into your personal story of how you're writing a book, and let people see like previews of chapters, or do a live session on like concentrated book writing work, because then your audience will be interested in that. So yeah, you have to know what kind of content you offer, but it's always kind of about the transformation that people will get out of it.
Amen. I have nothing to add to that, Brian. I hope that is satisfying for you. Otherwise, you can always join Claudia's amazing publications. So, hey, Brian, says thanks. You're welcome. And I see also somebody who I want to acknowledge, Robin Levin. I've been on Substack for 8 months, slow growing, but consistency pays out. Just hit 100 subs. Robin, everybody here on the chat, let's help Robin to 200. Let's go and follow her. Let's go and subscribe to her, and let's bring it to 200. And while we're at it, follow each other. Everybody in the chat, follow each other, talk to each other, love each other, because that's how you grow. And before I'm gonna sign off, because we are 30 minutes in, and I don't want to keep all of your time here. We want to keep it short and sweet. I want to share with you how I reached out to Claudia. I sent her a message because I admire her for so long time. And the thing that I did, I sent along with my message and previous life from me, but this is what I do. Are you interested? And to be honest, I've sent it to 20 people, and you're the only one who came back. So that's how it works, right? But that's what you do. Any final words that you have for all these beautiful, almost 30 people tuning in? I'm super proud of that. Do you have some final words?
Yeah, I mean, be real, be authentic, connect to people. I think that's answer to people when they write you a DM. I feel like this is the human part of it that is just shouldn't be left out. I see some more questions in the chat. Feel free to just write me a DM. I'm happy to reply there. And yeah, be kind, be human, and you'll do fine here.
And with that being said, I will thank you so much, Claudia, and went to my difficulties with Substack Live. And I'm honored to have you on a guest, and I love it. And we need to do it again sometimes in the future when we have other data points. And guys, I like to say thank you for everybody who was here. I truly appreciate you. Follow each other, follow Claudia, and we're going to talk soon on Substack Live. Claudia, people, have a good morning, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we talk soon. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.